Right now, the electricity in the wall behind you runs on his design.
The current in your lights, your fridge, the grid that powers entire countries.
One man worked out how to push that power across the world, and it made other men fantastically rich. He died with almost nothing.
Alone in a rented room on the 33rd floor of a New York hotel, feeding pigeons off the window ledge. And within days of his death, government agents came for his papers. They went through his room, opened his safe, and carried his life's work away. This is the story of the man who electrified the modern world and was very nearly erased from it. Nikola Tesla.
He was born on the 10th of July, 1856, in a mountain village called Smiljan
In what's now Croatia,
and was then the frontier of the Austrian Empire.
his family were Serbs.
His father, Milutin, was a priest in the Serbian Orthodox Church, a stern, bookish man who expected his son to join the clergy.
His mother, Duka, had never learned to read.
But she built her own tools by hand and could recite long Serbian epic poems from memory, and Tesla always said his mind came from her.
As a boy, that mind scared him. Blinding flashes of light would burst across his vision, and behind them came pictures so sharp he couldn't always tell them from real life.
Another child might have been ruined by it.
He taught himself to use it. Tesla was a frightening student. He could run through integral calculus in his head so fast his teachers accused him of cheating. He finished a 4-year school in 3. At the technical college in Graz, on an army scholarship, he worked himself half to death, sometimes studying from 3 in the morning until 11 at night, until a professor wrote to his father warning that the boy would break down.
He did. He lost the scholarship, and by his own account he gambled his money away and drifted for a while.
Then in 1882 everything changed in a single moment. He was walking through a park in Budapest with a friend, reciting a passage of Goethe out loud, when the answer arrived whole in his mind. He saw how a motor could spin on alternating current alone, driven by a magnetic field that turned by itself with no sparking parts to burn out.
He grabbed a stick and drew it in the dirt. He was 26 years old, and he just imagined the machine that would run the next 100 years.
There was only one problem.
Nobody in Europe would build it.
In 1884 he sailed into New York with a few coins in his pocket and a letter of introduction to Thomas Edison.
Edison was the most famous inventor alive,
The man who'd lit Manhattan with direct current.
He hired Tesla to improve his machines, and Tesla was brilliant at it. Then came the story that's followed Tesla ever since.
He said he'd been promised $50,000 to redesign Edison's generators, and that when he finished the work and asked to be paid, he was told the whole thing had been a joke.
Now historians don't trust that story the way Tesla told it.
The sum doesn't add up. The company was short of money, and Tesla may only have met Edison a handful of times.
But something clearly went wrong between them.
Tesla quit.
And for a time, the man who dreamed up a new electrical age was digging ditches across New York for $2 a day.
By 1888, one man's invention had touched off a war.
Two backers had finally staked Tesla, and he built his alternating current motor and shown it to a room of engineers who realized at last what they were looking at.
One man saw it more clearly than anyone. George Westinghouse, Edison's biggest rival, bought Tesla's patents outright, paying him in cash in stock and in a royalty of $2.50 for every horsepower his system produced. That royalty could have made Tesla one of the richest men on Earth. It also lit the fuse.
Edison had built his fortune on direct current, and Tesla's alternating current threatened all of it, so Edison's camp set out to prove that AC was lethal.
A salesman named Harold Brown, secretly paid by Edison, electrocuted animals in front of reporters. He built a first electric chair powered by alternating current, and in 1890 the state of New York used it to put a prisoner named William Kemmler to death. The message could not have been cruder. This is the current that kills.
Nikola Tesla then did something almost no one in history has ever done on purpose.
He gave away a fortune. By 1891, Westinghouse was in deep financial trouble,
worn down by the war and squeezed by his own investors, and he came to Tesla and told him plainly that the royalty was going to sink the company.
So Tesla let it go.
He released Westinghouse from the deal that could have paid him millions because he believed in the current more than the cash.
And the current won. In 1893, Tesla's alternating current lit the World's Fair in Chicago, the grandest display of electric light the world had yet seen.
Then Westinghouse and Tesla were chosen to do what many called impossible, to harness Niagara Falls. In 1896, the power of the falls ran down copper cables all the way to the city of Buffalo, 26 miles away. The age of electricity had begun, and it ran on his design. He had built the future, and he had handed away the fortune to make it real.
Tesla now wanted to give the world something even the grid couldn't.
He wanted to send power through the air to anyone, anywhere, for free.
In 1899, he built a laboratory high in the mountains at Colorado Springs, and there he made coils that threw bolts of man-made lightning more than 100 feet into the sky. They were so violent that one of them burned out the town's power station and plunged Colorado Springs into darkness. He became convinced that the whole planet could be turned into a wireless conductor. In 1901, backed by $150,000 from the banker J.P. Morgan, he began building an enormous tower at Wardenclyffe on Long Island, designed to be messages and power clear across the Atlantic. But that same year, a rival named Marconi sent a radio signal across the ocean first, using a tiny fraction of the equipment. Morgan lost faith and cut off the money. The tower was never finished. His backers walked away. The great structure stood rusting for years, and in 1917 it was pulled down and sold for scrap.
It was the start of a long, slow fall.
Now about Edison, because you've probably heard the story.
People say Edison stole Tesla's inventions and that Tesla was the real genius. Edison cheated.
The truth is more interesting than the meme. Edison didn't steal Tesla's ideas. They mostly worked on different things, and Edison's real war was with Westinghouse over whose current would power America. Tesla's patents were the prize in that fight, not the target of the theft.
But the rest of it isn't kind to Edison.
He really did run a campaign to scare people about alternating current. He really did stand behind the first electric chair to paint a technology he couldn't beat as the current of death. And Tesla's current still won completely. It's the one humming in your walls right now.
There's one more myth worth untangling. People say Tesla invented radio and Marconi stole the glory.
It isn't that clean, but there's real truth in it.
In 1943, months after Tesla died, the United States Supreme Court ruled that the heart of Marconi's radio patents had been invented earlier by other men, Tesla among them.
He got his due at last, decades too late to enjoy it. Tesla never married.
He said he'd chosen to stay alone, that giving up love had fed his work, though late in life he admitted he sometimes wondered if the price had been too high.
His mind ran on unusual rails.
He had a horror of germs and washed over and over.
He did things in threes and would circle a block 3 times before he would go inside. He couldn't bear the sight of pearls and wouldn't start a meal until he had worked out the exact volume of the food on his plate.
He could assemble a whole machine in his head, run it for weeks in his imagination, and see which parts had worn without ever picking up a tool.
And in his final years, the man who had electrified the world found his closest company in pigeons. He fed them in the park, carried the injured ones back to his room, and nursed them. There was one white pigeon he loved, he said, the way a man loves a person. And he claimed that when she died, a light went out of him, and he knew his own work was finished. On the 7th of January, 1943, Nikola Tesla died in room 3327 of the Hotel New Yorker, 33 floors up. He was 86. He hung a "Do Not Disturb" sign on the door, and it was 2 days before a maid ignored it and found him. He died alone of heart failure and deep in debt, even though the Westinghouse company, built on the current he had given away, had quietly paid his hotel bills for years.
And this is where his story turns strange.
In his last years, Tesla had spoken about a weapon, a beam of energy that could knock aircraft out of the sky from 100 miles away. He called it Teleforce. The newspapers called it a death ray. So when he died, in the middle of a world war, the government moved quickly. Federal agents seized his papers, and an engineer from MIT was brought in to go through everything he had left behind. Officially, they found nothing that could be turned into a weapon. And ever since, that one word, officially, has been enough to keep the theories alive. Here is how completely he won. Flick a switch anywhere on the planet and you're using his system. In 1960, the world's scientists chose a unit to measure the strength of a magnetic field, and they named it the Tesla, so his name is now written into the laws of physics themselves.
The induction motor he scratched into the dirt in Budapest turns inside factories, trains, and electric cars today. Alternating current, remote control, the foundations of radio, they all run back to him.
For decades he was remembered as the loser, the man who lost to Edison in the school books.
Not anymore. His name now rides on the most famous car company in the world, and the strange Serbian boy who saw visions of light is finally counted among the people who built the age we live in.
He electrified the world and died with next to nothing, and strangely, that isn't the saddest part.
The saddest part is how close we came to forgetting him for good. If any of this was new to you, there's a whole shelf of these stories waiting on the channel. And I want to hear from you. Was Tesla a genius the world let down, or a dreamer who reached too far? Tell me below.
I read every one.